The debt is $14.6 trillion and rising. Debt is horrible. It's the end of America. The Republicans are freaking out right now and trying to lower the debt via only spending cuts, of course, and not raising taxes. They compare America to a household that's living on credit cards beyond their means. Therefore, we need to cut back on spending because our income is too low. This is an argument of analogy. Friendough made a great comment about something Fringeelements does all the freaking time. Analogies are great. They can be very useful. However, if you forget that you're using an analogy, your argument can make a logical sounding point about something that is completely not true. If debt is so horrible, then why and how did we get to this point to begin with? Congress is incompetent, but it's not completely stupid. If debt was that bad, we wouldn't do that, right? What kind of mindset made it okay to borrow? Let's say a household has a certain income. Is getting into debt bad? That depends. If you buy something you want that depreciates and has no returning value, like, say, 2 wars in the Middle East and tax cuts for the rich, then yes, debt is bad and should be done as little as possible, as repayment is much more difficult. Let's say, however, that a member of the household gets a student loan, or a car to get to work faster, or to start a small business. Then a loan is great. It will make that debt easier to repay over time. Mind you, it's many times a gamble. I borrowed money for college and the job market tanked. My total debt is nearly 150% of my yearly income. Because of this debt percentage and the repayment needed, I have been very skittish to go back for my master's, but at this point, I think there's not much else to lose considering I'll be in and out of jobs for the next few years anyway, and equally stressed out, with at least jobs available when I get out of college. Because there sure as hell won't be any long-term jobs available for life scientists for a few more years. The U.S. is currently reaching 100% of GDP, or yearly income of the total U.S. Britain has about 120% GDP in debt, and Japan has around 200% in debt. However, if an investment raises GDP, then the percentage is lowered, and it makes it much easier to pay off with time. Programs like infrastructure, science, and education inspire innovation and increase GDP. Helping small and mid-sized businesses generate new ideas also generates innovation, increasing GDP. Productivity in general generates GDP. What we have now, though, is a lot of unemployed people who aren't being productive because there has been too little innovation, so they have nothing to produce. Most Americans are ready to get out and make money, but so many can't even get started because jobs, infrastructure does not have the room for them. During the Depression, FDR started the CCC, which allowed people to go to work for the government even if it was minimum wage and the project was unimportant. An idea that could be used is something similar. The nation invests in paying half of an employee's salary for certain jobs, allowing companies to hire more, getting more money into the market, and building companies' infrastructure to be able to keep the workers on without subsidies. Another idea that has been repeated many times is spending on infrastructure, like rail lines or just roads and bridges, which are falling apart, like Obama's plan calls for, and a new smart electrical grid that would save our energy use like crazy. Infrastructure is an investment. Putting a war on your credit card that can be avoided is not. Tax cuts for the rich is not. It's more like a household that gets a pay cut so the boss can keep his bonus. Cutting spending now is really difficult because they're already cutting all programs to the bone. Now the only way to cut more are things that would be like if a family had to stop paying for doctor's visits and health insurance, more nutritional food and schooling, or they could get a loan and invest and try and increase their ease of paying it back in the future.